CPI just being released on a month-over-month basis, actually coming in flat. The expectation was for an increase of 0.1%, so better than expected there. The core month-over-month number coming in a rise of 0.2%. The expectation was for a rise of 0.3%. It's also a tick down from that 0.3% rise that we saw the prior month. When you take a look at those year-over-year comparisons, the headline number coming in at 3.3%. That's just below what the forecast was for 3.4%, also a tenth below what we saw last month. And then that core year-over-year number, that coming in at 3.4%, which was also just below what the street had been bracing itself for, 3.5%. So again, across the board, these numbers coming in just below those expectations, and seeing that reaction play out in the futures market right now. You can see the futures market adding to some of those earlier gains. You now got the S&P futures on track to open up just around 0.8% to the upside here, Brad.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see if this changes the tenor of the conversation as the second day of the two-day FOMC meeting happens today, and then we'll get that decision a little bit later on. But all things considered, looking at some of the indexes within this report, as we're adding a little bit more color onto it, the index for the all items less food and energy, that was actually up 0.2% in May, as you mentioned here. But going further into some of the indexes that increased during May, you saw shelter, medical care, used cars and trucks, and education. And shelter continuing to be one of the biggest contributors on that month over month, and then continued kind of trend that we're seeing here more broadly here. So that's something that we'll continue to see how the Fed discusses that. But all things considered, there's also some decreases, some good news in here. Indexes for airline fares, new vehicles, communication, recreation, apparel. Those were among those that decreased over the month. So if you're like our executive editor, Brian Sozzi, and getting some fierce cologne at Abercrombie & Fitch, then things might have went down for you just a little bit.